Hello, and welcome to this episode of 49 Faithfully. I'm your host, Miriah Lee, and we got TL back. TL, how are you doing? Welcome back.
Appreciate that. Thank you. First of all, I'll give a shout out to Melissa for standing in for me. I appreciate you not leaving my girl hanging. Also, any veterans that are tuning in, happy Veterans Day. I'm also a veteran, 5 years in the Navy. Anybody else out there, congrats, and I hope you enjoyed your day. I love it here in Vegas because we get a bunch of free stuff. So I had free breakfast and dinner with my military ID. So it was cracking. So
Yes, yes. Happy Veterans Day to you and to all the veterans out there. We spent the morning at the Veterans Day parade here because my daughter's in junior ROTC. So she, marched in the parade. So that was pretty cool. They didn't have it last year because of the pandemic and everything being shut down. So it was actually a bigger turnout this year. I'm guessing because they didn't have it last year, So it was nice. It was good.
that's awesome. I didn't know she was in ROTC. Is she trying to join the military after high school?
She wanted to,
Mm.
like in the early years of high school, like when she was a
Okay.
freshman, sophomore, but she's kind of changed her mind on
Change
it
her
now.
mind. Okay, I'm about to say if she does, even though I was in the Navy, I had no problems. Tell her to join the Air Force if she does. That's the easiest. The boot camp is the easiest, and they got the best job. So
She's in a Navy
is she?
ROTC right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
So, um, yeah, a lot's happened since you've been on. um, Besides losing to Arizona, there are a couple things before we jump into that I wanted to get your opinion on, that you weren't here when we talked about it last week.
Okay.
Starting with last week, Ayuk came out in a presser and said that over the bye week, him and Kyle Shanahan had words. And then a few days later, it came out from John Lynch that he sat in on that to be, I guess, a mediator or whatever.
Okay.
What do you think about that? And also, what do you think about, this is what I had a problem with, is that it took until the bye week for Shanahan and Lynch and whatever to stop bashing Ayuk in public and go and talk to the kid.
Well, I don't know who initiated the talk, but bravo. It took long enough, but let's be real here. John Lynch said on that meeting because he probably thought Ayuk was going to put them hands on Kyle because I'm sure he's frustrated. He's looking at everybody in the league. He's in his second year. I'm sure. And it's funny too because these years go by fast. Before you know it, he's going to be in a contract year.
Yeah.
So before it comes by, he's going to be looking at it already almost going into his third year, and it's when it's come time for them to pay him, it's going to be like, well, you didn't do well this year, that year. So I think John sat in on it because it probably got a little hostile. So when he said we had words, I'm sure it was a shouting match. I'm sure Ayuk actually went in there and checked him and like, look, bro, I know Debo's having a heck of a year. I feel like I'm just as good. You traded up for me in the first round. So, the fact that he went in there, I'm actually proud of Ayuk. I'm glad he went in there and said something. It sucks it took this long, but the timing, I guess, is everything. And maybe with Ayuk, he was like, okay, I'm going to give it a few weeks. And then once the bye week hit, he's probably like, no, I'm good. The fact that he had the courage to actually sit down and have some words with Kyle, I can respect that. And maybe they need to put a C on his chest.
Right. Yeah. I think that's something I heard a few people say this week, that, they agree that, they should put a C on Ayuk's chest because it seems, up until this point, players really haven't had the courage or come out and say anything bad about Shanny. Mm-hmm. Now we've had a couple players drop a couple things in, press conferences lately, but up until this point, we haven't heard nobody come up to a press conference and say, I've had words with the head coach,
Exactly. Yeah.
And it kind of what we've talked about the entire time, like what was going on with it. Like you tried to have us, tried to sell us that Sherfield was better than Ayuk, which, Sherfield could have been having a great camp, but there's no way that he's more talented than Ayuk. Nobody's buying that.
Yeah,
and it's like, first they tried to say it was the injury, and then it was that, and it's just like now Sherfield's completely disappeared. And then they asked him about that today in the presser, like, where's Sherfield? Are we going to see Sherfield because Sanu's hurt? Like, we went into the year thinking, hearing Sherfield's our number 2 wide receiver, and we haven't seen him.
Yeah.
And Shanahan says that Ayuk's better than him now.
Oh yeah,
that's why.
Just all of a sudden, okay.
Yeah.
And here's another thing too. I will say about Ayuk. Ayuk, I'm sure he's banking on himself. So even if he pissed Kyle off and was like, "Oh, this is not like and Kyle was like, "I'm putting you in the doghouse." Okay, cool. Ayuk is good enough where in the offseason the team would be calling for him. Well, if you're not going to use him, let me give you a second for him. Let me give you a third for him. He won't be in my doghouse.
Right.
So I'm glad, because I don't see like a Hufanga doing something like that, or somebody who was picked in the later rounds. I don't see nobody. I don't see a Diamador Lenore saying, "Hey, why ain't you playing me?" He's a 5th round pick. He's kind of mellow. He's like, well, if I piss the coaching staff off, people might not want to trade for me, whatever the case may be, or you risk the chance of, and I think he would get picked up, but I think, you risk the chance, or okay, maybe he's not a good example. Let's do Ambry Thomas instead. Ambry Thomas hasn't shown any glimpses this year.
Right.
He pissed off the coaching staff. If he had words with Kyle and said, why am I playing this and that? He gets cut. It might be like, well, I don't know what he can do. And, so I'm proud. So for Ayuk to do that, that's awesome. But yeah, you're right. Now all of a sudden, Ayuk now is better than Sherfield. If Sherfield was your second best receiver, why is players like Sanu getting more snaps then? Like, it should easily be. And people are saying, well, Sherfield is an outside receiver. Man, I don't want to hear that nonsense. You can still start a 3-receiver set, and you can even put Ayuk in the slot if you need to, or Debo in the slot. I don't want to hear that nonsense. You play your best players. You're supposed to be playing your best 11 on 11, and Kyle is definitely not doing that.
Yeah, and and if you're such a genius, you figure out a way to make it work. There's no, this one has to play here, this one has to play here. We've seen Kyle use them everywhere. Exactly. All his, this positionless, team that he wants to have or whatever, he makes it work. So that's, a bunch of BS. About we didn't hit on this last week. This is just something that, came around, I think maybe last week or this week, but
okay.
About Trey Sermon taking off the 49ers off of his social media and everything. Did you hear about that?
I heard about it. Was that confirmed? Like, did he actually do it?
The show that I was watching when it broke or whatever, they went and looked at it at that time, and yeah, everything was off.
Everything was gone.
He did still have him as in a uniform on Twitter.
Okay.
Like his picture. But on whatever the other platforms,
like the bio or something, like it didn't show him being a 49er. I think there's better ways to go about it than that. I mean, you got to understand too, these dudes are young and they're used to being the man, you know what I mean? Like in high school, college. So when you get something like, a Trey Sermon who probably feels some type of way, one, because you traded up for him, and we can get into that here in a bit. You traded up for him. And now he's not getting any snap. I don't think he's gotten any snaps since the Colts game.
Yeah.
So he hasn't played in 2 weeks. Healthy scratches for 2 weeks. So what is the issue? If Elijah Mitchell's better, that's good. Okay, perfect. But there's no reason for him not to be getting any snaps, even if it's on special teams, whatever the case may be. He should be getting some kind of burn to use his potential on the field. I just don't get what's going on. I want to be my special teams. I don't mean kickoff returner, but maybe he can go down and make some tackles, whatever the case may be. But him not being used at all is ridiculous. And, I don't know. I don't get it. Like I said, Mitchell has looked good, so I get it. But even then, John, very smart. He can be a stud here. Yeah, he is. And I'm saying this, and I'm a Michigan fan. He's an Ohio State guy, and I'm going to bat for him. Like, that just doesn't make any sense where he's not getting any burn. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Kyle these days. JV, you're right. No leadership. And, too, it's like, I didn't get to watch the game because I was out of state on business. But even looking at the highlights, and JV's right, no leadership. The fact that, I understand that there's certain positions struggling or whatever the case may be. We're struggling on offense, struggling on defense. The fact that We're whiffing on tackles. We can't get any turnovers. You have to practice ball skills with your corners that you learn in junior high and high school. The fact that the receivers are dropping balls, that just shows me that's a discipline issue. There's no leadership. So how can you expect your players out there to go out there and function when there's no leadership? So Kyle, that's on you. That's all on you. I'm sorry. You want to come up here to these pressures with a little sad face, like you're pissed off, whatever the case may be. Who cares, bro? Man up. You're making millions of dollars. Your team is not playing well. You're questionable as a head coach right now. You should man up and expect that these questions aren't going to be pretty. It's not going to be a walk in the park. You know, when you have a job, if I'm at work and I'm not doing stuff right and I'm making a bunch of mistakes, my boss is not going to call me in the office to tell me how good I'm doing.
Right.
It's going to be, hey, Teran, you're doing X, Y, and Z. I need you to clean this up. Do this, do that. Okay, cool. And then I move forward. But to expect the media to be saying, oh, John, your team's doing great. Yeah, right. Jimmy's playing great. Yeah, right. Like, come on, Kyle. Like, he's just, I mean, he's acting real immature. And I get the arrogance thing always comes into play, but come on, bro, like man up and be more mature and be a man and know that these questions that the media is about to throw at you are not going to be cool.
Right. And, you know, like this is the first time ever, you know, that I can remember in pressers that him saying, you know, something and, oh, but it starts with me and that starts with me. You know, never before does he take accountability for anything. Still, he's not saying anything's his fault, but he'll say, we need to do better in this, and that starts with me, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think, right. That plays a part of that leadership. You know, I hear a lot of people, you know, this week are questioning if we have the leadership in the locker room right now. You know, do we have anybody that's standing up and saying anything? You know, like everybody wants to point to Fred Warner, but again, if Fred's not playing, you know, as great as everybody thinks that he should be playing, you know, how can you stand up and say anything to anybody? You know, and then we saw last week with Norman, you know, getting out of hand, and it took Aziz to go and pull him off the field. You know, Fred wasn't there doing it.
A third-year linebacker who's not even a team captain. Yeah,
exactly. You know, and then when they question everybody else in the presser about it, you know, Fred, Eric, you know, everybody's like, oh, we didn't see it. We didn't see.
Yeah. You know what? And two, it's like, I understand people are going to be who they are. You know, I would actually hope that Trent Williams would step up and be like, look, this is not, you know, 49er football. This is not how we're supposed to play. But, you know, he's really soft-spoken and kind of, you know, likes to joke around and stuff like that too. But here's the comedy thing about it. You got the veterans that you brought in for leadership ain't showing any. And two, the veterans that you have in aren't good.
Right. Exactly.
So how can Josh Norman pull aside a Emmanuel Mosley and say, hey, you need to clean this up and clean that up when you're probably leading our team in pass interference?
Right. And those veterans you brought in aren't winners.
That's what I'm saying.
They've never won anything.
Ever. Yeah. So you're bringing in these veterans who suck. You know, when everybody wants to bring back the thing with Sherman and DeForest Buckner, people are going to listen to them.
Yeah.
Sherman got a track record of being a leader. Sherman's been a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro. You know, at one time considered probably a top 3 corner in this league.
Yeah, won a Super Bowl. You know,
won a Super Bowl.
There,
so for him, so for him to sit there and go to a Mosley, a Lenore, Ambry Thomas, hey man, you guys are screwing up. Let's work on this, work on that. They're going to pay attention to that. They're going to be able to listen. If I'm Diamador Lenore or Emmanuel Mosley and Josh Norman says, hey, you need to clean this up and clean that up, I'm going to look at him and be like, bro, just get out of my face.
Right.
Who are you to tell me what I need to do as a football player when you're making more mistakes than I am on the field? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then too, it's like, I don't know. And then, I mean, we can talk about this more too, but then you have these, you know, these veterans who suck and like a Tom Compton. So I guess I will give Kyle his kudos because he did say that Tom Compton was above Aaron Banks. So he actually told us the truth on that. Mm-hmm. He told the truth, Kyle. But the simple fact is, that's what makes me sick about Kyle, him and his buddy ball approach.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Compton's with me in Atlanta. And who cares? He's past his prime.
Right.
Get rid of him. You have a second round pick that you were high on. Use him. When McGlinchey went out, okay, you want to keep in Brunskill, fine. You should have moved him, slid him over to right tackle, put in Aaron Banks. Or if they're both struggling, because Jalen Moore, and I'm going to say something about this with Jalen Moore too, what pissed me off about Kyle. So instead of taking out run skill and throwing in Jalen Moore, his response was, "Oh, I didn't play Jalen Moore because he's taking all snaps at left tackle." Why?
Yeah, why is he backing up somebody that we just made the highest paid left tackle in the game?
Doesn't make sense.
That's who you're having this guy. That's the position you're having him learn.
And what pisses me off is Jalen Moore played guard and tackle in college. So that means he's versatile. Yeah. So you mean to tell me he's not preparing to jump in at any time? I don't want him playing centers because that's not his thing, but he should be able to jump in at any time if Tomlinson gets hurt. Brunskill, obviously with McGlinchey, he hasn't taken any steps. But then you got these dudes like Brunskill, who you've trained at almost every position on the line, who's useless. He's trained to play tackle, he's trained to play center, all this other stuff. But then you have a dude that you drafted who played well at left tackle with Trent being gone, but yet you haven't trained him at all to play right tackle. Like, that's on you, Kyle. Again, like, there's so many mistakes by this regime. Like, I felt like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the arrogance is. I mean, everybody keeps saying they drafted for next year. That's arrogant. Yeah. I don't care if I'm Tampa Bay and that's come off a Super Bowl. I'm drafting for this year. You always draft for the year you're in because you don't know what's going to happen. Oh, I drafted Ambry Thomas to take over for Verrett in case we can't keep him. Deommodore Lawrence came on. Well, guess what? They both got hurt, and now they're not ready. And well, as you guys say, they're not ready. Then you go and sign these scraps off the street. Doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm so frustrated with this dude. I don't get it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, and that's why, so many of us are mad because we're at the point where we're at right now, 3-5. So this year is not looking promising, and you're not preparing the rookies for next year. So we're going to go through the same thing next year too, because now we're going to have all these rookies go through their pains, their growing pains, their ups and downs, because you didn't want to play them this year because you're playing scrubs off the freaking couch.
Yeah.
Like, what is the plan?
Yeah. And I said this before, and excuse me, fam, if I keep repeating myself, but I just feel so strongly about this. I would rather be a bad team that has a plan than an average team that doesn't have a plan, because at least I know what I'm going to get in the future. At least, okay, cool. You giving me this what's what I'll call this positivity to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, we're bad right now, but I expect by week 10 of 2022 that this team is going to look this way. We're going to have this at quarterback, this at corner. This is what we plan on doing with our draft picks. I can roll with that. If we finish the game the season 6-11, but we have a plan going forward, I can live with that. But the fact that you're sitting here, and what bugs me is Kyle says, "Oh, well, I'm playing Jimmy until we're eliminated from the playoffs." Well, he's not playing good enough. These last 2 games, I've been watching the film, and I give Kyle his credit on this. He's calling a pretty good game plan because there's always receivers open. But if you have a quarterback in there that's not willing to throw to these open receivers and not execute your game plan, then what are you doing here? He's hindering your offense because I see receivers on crossers, on streaks, go routes, wide open, and Jimmy's not even looking their way. So how are you saying I'm playing the quarterback giving me the best chance to win when he's not even executing the plays that you're putting out there?
Right. And everybody wants to say, oh, well, Jimmy played, great. Or I've heard, Jimmy's played his best 2 games of his career, these last 2 games, or, all kinds of, crazy stuff. But
yeah.
And, Jimmy might not necessarily be making us lose the game, but he's not doing enough to make us win the game.
Exactly.
And that's the point. So are you are you telling me that we couldn't have been 3-5 right now if Trey had started the whole season?
Oh, I totally agree. At least I would say probably 4-4 because I think we beat Seattle if he played the whole game the way we were stopping Russell Wilson. So I say we're a game better with Trey in the lineup.
Right. Look at Justin Fields. The first game he had, horrible game. I don't think, a rookie's ever had a worse game. But yet, he might be losing these last couple of games, but he is learning. He is getting better each game. Like, you can see him improving week to week. And, next year, what? He's going to come in and be ready to go. And we're just going to be, oh, okay, Trey, here's your second start of your career. It's just not making sense. We could have been to this point had you started the rookies and be building on something. Mm-hmm. So now we're at 3-5, and you're telling me that, these guys that all are on 1-year contracts, that they're going to give all that they have to this team to go out there,
of course not,
and give everything that they have. No, it's time to start making business decisions for these guys. Yep. They're not going out there ruining, getting hurt and, that being the end of their career for a team that's losing.
Like, it's just like the same thing with Tart. He's on a 1-year, $800,000 deal. He's going to want to get paid. And I get it. They're probably going to, when he's healthy, they'll probably put him back in because they don't want to hinder his free agency stuff. But you know what? I can't worry about you. You got hurt. I didn't. I'm going with Hufanga. He's my future. He's on a 4-year contract. I need to see what I have because in 9 games, you're gone. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at Tart, nobody really tried to sign him in the offseason. I think he only came back because he had no offers.
Right.
So it's like, you know what? I'm sorry, bro. Like, this is a business. I don't care about your feelings. Like, and I get you want to respect your players. I totally get that. I'm all about being respectful. But at the same time, if my team is not playing well and I have these rookies sitting on the bench, like I don't care. We are playing the Rams. Starting Sunday, I'm going to. We got 100 subscribers. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Appreciate the meme. But yeah, the fact that you feel like, we're still in playoff contention. Dude, stop it. Like, even if we do make the playoffs, we're getting throttled. We're not winning the Super Bowl. And I'm going to put this out there because I'm so confident. But if I am, I'll be a man of my word. If we make the playoffs, anybody who's subscribed to our channel, I will personally buy you a 49er hat and t-shirt of your choice. You have to be subscribed. I will pick a name out of a hat, and I promise you, as a man of my word, I will send you a hat and t-shirt of your choice from the 49ers. Because I don't think we're making the playoffs. But if we do, that's what's coming somebody's way. But, and two, I wanted to talk to you about this. You saw the article I sent you. So everybody keeps talking about, Kyle's not going nowhere, which I agree. I don't want him fired. Right. But do you think that John deserves to be fired as well? And the reason why I'm asking this because I'm about to read you off this list.
Here's my thing is that the way I feel about it personally is Kyle hired John. So he can have the title of GM, but the guy that hires you has more power than you. You're not like, I'm not hiring my boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the way I feel is that none of us really truly know, like, okay, this one had their say 100% on this draft pick, unless articles have come out saying otherwise, or this one's done this one's done that, they're in this together. So I feel totally that agree. Kyle's not going to be any better if we get another GM in here, because who's going to hire that GM, right? Kyle's still going to have all the power. It doesn't really matter. So I feel like if one goes, they both should go. And I'm not saying neither should go this season. That's not where I'm at this point, but I don't think that John should be the scapegoat for everything.
I don't either. And I feel, and I totally agree with you. You hit the nail on the head with that one. They should get at least JV a medium. Medium. Oh, you think we're making the playoffs? No, I'm just playing. So I totally agree with you because, you look at it, I think they both, they're the ones who made this bed. They need to lay in it together. They're the ones who went up and got Trey Lance. I think they should at least, at the minimum, given a season and a half with Trey Lance, just to see what he can do. Like if Jed wants to pull the plug then, okay, that's fine. But here's the thing, and JV hit the nail on the head. So here's my issue. This is the thing that I wanted to talk about because I keep hearing, John Lynch needs to go. John Lynch needs to go. Well, tell me why. Because I wrote down this list, and this is just offensive players. And Kyle's an offensive coordinator / head coach. So I can almost guarantee you 90% of the offensive draft picks are made by Kyle. Because he does have final 53-man roster say. And I know the offense is his baby. So I'm going to read you these names. And fam on the chat, you can holler at me if I'm missing somebody. So these are the offensive players since Kyle and John been in office that they have traded up for, not just drafted, but traded up for. C.J. Beathard, Joe Williams, Dante Pettis, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Lance, and Trey Sermon. That's 6 players of offense that they traded up for, okay? Out of all of them, Ayuk, I would say he's panned out. Everybody else is either trash or questionable. Offensive players. And this is the main thing that gets me. And this is the thing why I feel like John Lynch should not be the scapegoat. So, the Niner fam, if you can remember this, there's an article that came out May 1st by 49ers Web Zone. John Lynch told everybody that him and the staff had Joe Williams off the draft board because he quit on his team at Utah. They felt like he wasn't a good fit. They felt like he had, some kind of mental issues that they didn't want to deal with, and they know that he quit on his team. And John Lynch said, I don't want him on my team. I took him off the draft board. Kyle hits him up and says, oh, we need to put Joe Williams back on my draft board because I won't be able to sleep if I don't get my hands on this guy. So John Lynch said, well, he thought about it. John was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if we should draft him. So what happens? They put Joe Williams back on the draft board and they give it. And John says in the article, I knew how Kyle felt about this guy. So I put him back on the draft board, called him, and we grabbed him because Kyle said, if I don't get a hand on this guy, I won't be able to sleep. So why is John Lynch the only fault here? Why is he the only scapegoat? When 6 offensive players that you traded up for, 5 of them are questionable. I wouldn't even say that. Beathard, he's a backup. Okay, whatever.
And not even on the team anymore.
Not even on the team anymore. Joe Williams is out of the league after 2 seasons. Dante Pettis didn't work out for you. Brandon Ayuk, he's earned his keep. Trey Lance, Trey Sermon, they're questionable. So why is John Lynch the only scapegoat? So it sounds like, I know it's only one article, I know it's only one player, but the fact that John Lynch knew well enough to keep this young man, Joe Williams, and no disrespect to Joe Williams, because I understand he was going through some stuff. His sister passed away. He quit the team. But as a business decision, John said, let's keep this man off our draft board. But Kyle begged him to put him back on here. And what happened? Kyle is in charge of the 53-man roster. Joe Williams is on his team. And 2 years later, he's out of the league. Not just off the team, out of the league. So John Lynch should not just be the only scapegoat. Kyle has a part in this as well. So I agree with you, Miriah. They go hand in hand. But what scares me is Kyle humble enough to let somebody else come in, or at least let Adam Peters and John Lynch be in charge of player personnel and scouting and him step back? Because I honestly believe if nothing changes and if Kyle's still going to be in charge of player personnel decisions, we're going to be in the same position a year from now, 2 years from now, until that changes.
Yeah. I don't think that's why I don't think he will ever do any better here, because he's never going to, give somebody else any power that he has. You can't take power away from somebody at a place that they already have all the power. Sure. Now, maybe that he goes to a new team and they don't give him so much power, and he might learn from his mistakes and do better. But here, that's not going to happen.
No. Because Jed York is not man enough. He's soft. York is soft. He's not going to sit there and be like, you know what, Kyle, me, you, Adam Peters, and John Lynch need to have a meeting after 17 weeks and discuss our future. Like, I really need you to step back and just to bring this up, that article you sent me with Kyle Juszczyk, you kidding me? Kyle calls on defense too.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here?
And then we're wondering why he's throwing, challenge flags when they shouldn't be challenged.
Oh my God.
And again, this past week, that with the Norman and all that whole fiasco, they asked him about it, and he said, "Oh, I didn't see it." It's like, you're not seeing anything that's going on because your head's never out of that freaking playbook.
Exactly.
So how can you do anything?
Yeah, how can you sit there and see what's going on in the field when you're always on that clipboard looking at what's the next player going to be called when you can't see every single thing? He said, what? You're telling me this guy can't struggle, man. Yeah, I agree, John V. But here's the thing, like,
maybe try to remove yourself from the stream and come back.
Who, me?
But yeah, so I mean, I don't see that Kyle's gonna do any better here. And I agree, John. Um, he does. He hires people. I mean, look at when
Hello, fam. Can you hear me? Just put in the chat if you can hear me. Oh, you guys did lose Mariah. Okay. So yeah, I just I'm looking at everything and the way that this organization has done and the way they're handling things is mind boggling to me. Like how many of you are comfortable seeing everything that's going on? Like how many are comfortable that if Kyle keeps the team and everything keeps remaining the way as is, him having final say, how much progress you think this organization is going to have?
that was weird. That must have been when you have two people living in Vegas and all of Vegas must went out or something. um, all right.
Are you cool now?
Yeah, looks like it.
John said that he can hear us talking, and then he lost you, and then all of a sudden I got your text, and then I was gone. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, like you had started going like a alien, and then a robot, and then I lost you.
Oh, that's
then
weird.
like the whole streamer closed. That was crazy.
Huh.
But yeah, anyways, what were we talking about?
We're talking about the decision making of this organization and stuff, and
yeah, and I don't think like you're saying, I don't think it's fair to take and place blame on one or the other. I definitely think we can place blame on both. And some other things that's been happening around the league since we've talked is our rivals over there in LA, the Rams, keep picking up player after player after player. They trade away all their draft picks for players, and the rich get richer, and here we are still struggling away.
Yeah.
Still, with a not making any moves, and it's like every person that becomes available, it's like, oh, I think that we can get this, this person, and oh, look, this person's looking good, and then oh, this person signs there. And like the whole thing with OBJ, it's like I don't know why the fan base ever thought he was going to sign with us. It's like the guy's going to want to leave a crap team to go to a crap team to go to a crap team.
Yeah, that's not happening.
A crap, he wants to leave a crap quarterback.
Yeah. Like, and let's be honest, the Browns are better than us right now.
Yeah.
So why would he want to come to us?
Exactly.
So I can get John and Kyle not being able to make this move, but I think it's the moves too that that happen even before the season. Like the Rams, even though they cut them, they go and they try to add to their receiving core. At least they take chances by trying to get a Deshaun Jackson. Oh, he wasn't getting enough playing time. Okay, I'll replace you with OBJ. You got the Cardinals who sat there and like, okay, you know what? I think I'm a few pieces off. Let me bring in some older guys, some leadership. Let me go grab a JJ Watt. Let me go grab a AJ Green. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't have a tight end because mine got hurt. You know what? I'm gonna go call Eagles and see what they want for Zach Ertz. Like they make moves, and like people have said, you look at our roster. I feel like we're the only team in the division who hasn't improved since 2019. We haven't improved at all. Yeah. Like you lose Buckner, you replace him with Kinlaw. That's not upgrading.
Yep.
Like you know what I'm saying? So everybody, like, it's just
because instead of getting better, they want to keep running it back. Why are you running back? You didn't win the Super Bowl. So why are you trying to run back that team?
Yeah.
If you had won the Super Bowl, okay, you run it back. You didn't. So why are you trying to run back the same team and not even the same team, but a team that got a couple people worse and trying to run it back?
Yeah.
And then, oh, well, last year was a fluke. Everybody was injured. So let's now again try to run back that same old and injury team.
Yeah.
And that, let's go back to the touch on that, that Juice interview that Niners Nation had this week. It was a really good interview. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. Something that I found funny, it wasn't even nothing that was said in there that had caught my attention the most, was that behind Juice on his shelves, is like 49ers helmets, different things, whatever.
Yeah.
And on there is his Shanahan hat.
Mm-hmm.
So like this, I put it on mine so I could copy, since this isn't like a trophy now. This is our Super Bowl trophy from the 2019 team. So he has this sitting on his shelf with all of his, like things. Like, this is something that you're going to put on your shelf. Like, this is the 2019 vibes, that these guys just like can't get over.
Yeah.
And, like, wasn't it this team like that had somebody on this, maybe Salah or one of them maybe it was Shanahan that said, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Yep.
And
I
it's
think
like
Shanahan that said that, I believe.
Yeah, so like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then today another thing that's, funny about that is that he came out today in the presser about his A players, again, on that whole rant that the A players aren't playing like A players. And then he says that it's easy for coaches to get C players to play like B players.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good coaches that can get A players to play like A players consistently.
Mm.
He says that right after he says that his A players aren't playing like A players.
Oh.
So then you're not a good coach.
Exactly.
Like, you just told us you're not a good coach.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
I mean, back-to-back sentences.
Yeah, that's hilarious. You know what thing? So talking about the Kyle Juszczyk interview, this is what stood out to me, and this just goes to show you that I really believe that there's a divided locker room when it comes to quarterbacks. Because if you remember what Kyle Juszczyk said during the interview, because they asked him about Ayuk, about him and Kyle's relationship and all that stuff, mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh, everything is good. This and that." He goes, "Me and Brandon got close because we both had hamstring problems. We both were injured, and we rehabbed together." Mm-hmm. He said, "Me and him were rehabbing together." I'm like, "Oh, okay, they rehabbed together." Jimmy and Trey during the bye week, same, had an injury in the left leg, so they should have been rehabbing together. But Jimmy says, "Oh, we never crossed paths."
And we were told they were rehabbing together.
Yeah, totally rehabbing, but he says we never crossed paths. Yep. That shows you right there that this locker room is divided because of the quarterback. And that just goes to show you that because Kyle didn't have his balls and didn't make the executive decision and say, I don't screw what everybody else was saying. And I guarantee you, just like you said, I bet you it's one of those things where, when him and Parag and John were getting all these veteran players on these 1-year deals, it was, oh, we're going to make sure we play. We give you guys the best chance to win. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that, so instead of him just saying, you know what, I'm going to go with the rookie. I'm going to go the one that I put everything for. I'm going to start him going forward. And the fact that he didn't do that is why I believe the way this team is the way it is. Because I can honestly believe if Kyle and John made the decision for week 1 to say, you know what, we're going to go with Trey, we're going to move Jimmy, I can guarantee you that this team would be playing differently.
Yeah, and I agree that does have a lot to do with it because, like Josh Norman, is he taking that call? We all saw him get the call and from his agent that he was signing. Is he doing that if we have a rookie quarterback or that he knows that we're switching, to a rookie quarterback in a couple weeks or, like these guys that are on their last, could be maybe their last and final contracts. Who knows? They're trying to win. They're not trying to, go back and forth and go through the growing pains of a rookie quarterback.
Exactly.
So let me see what else I had to. What other news we had? Jalen Hurd
Huh.
is no longer a 49er. He
It's
was
about
released
time.
today. Um, it's kind of funny that the other day Shanahan's asked in a press conference, are you expecting Jalen Hurd back this season? Do you have any updates about him, anything? And Kyle says, no, I'm not expecting him back this season. And now a couple days later, he's released. Up until that point, we hadn't heard anything about it.
Exactly.
So again, are these people fed the questions they're supposed to ask at the press conference, or how does it all of a sudden they get that question and we find out, nope, he's not coming, he's not going to be ready for the season. Up,
Yeah,
he's released a couple days later
that's funny. Yeah,
after
I
we
mean,
haven't heard about him in weeks. You know?
and that's a great question because the simple fact is, would he still be on this team if that question wasn't asked?
Yeah.
Kyle's his love affair with these players, I just don't get it. Like you had talked about it, like like the Dante Pettis thing, and him saying he couldn't sleep until he gets Joe Williams. Like when he has a crush on the player, he seems to hold on to him. Like he just doesn't know like to let go. Like Jalen Hurd, I feel sorry for the kid. I feel bad for him, but that's another bad decision because I don't know if you paid attention to him in college. He was a running back at
Yeah.
Tennessee. He was always hurt. Like he was a beast. It was hard tackling a 6'4", 230-pound running back. Always hurt. So he made a business decision to say, you know what, I'm always hurt. I have a bad back. My knees are getting hit. Let me change the wide receiver. So you knew the injury history was already there. You go ahead and draft him over Terry McLaurin, who was sitting
Yep.
in your lap, which is shameful. Anyway, it is what it is. So you instead, that's what's funny to me. You needed a wide receiver. Why didn't you just get you a pure wide receiver instead of a gadget guy? Like you should just went and got Terry McLaurin. But anyway, you go and you get this guy. He hasn't been hurt. Like he should have been gone last year
Yep.
before the 2020 season when you knew he wasn't playing. But the fact that it's like, oh, let me hold on to him because hopefully he can be something. Like you're hindering your roster and now keeping somebody on a roster space that you can have somebody who's ready to go at any minute if somebody gets hurt.
Right.
You could have kept yourself a Jared Maiden on the team. Now we're hurting at safety. Like he could have been somebody who could have got some playing time, but no, you want to keep this wide receiver who's been hurt, who made 3 good plays in the 2018 preseason. Like, come on.
Yeah. And a bunch of us had touched on this at the time. That we saw players. We saw players go to different teams that we all thought should have made the team. Meanwhile, they kept Jalen Hurd on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and like you said, we could be using those players right now, clearly.
Yep.
So let's get into. I know you said you didn't watch the Arizona game.
No, I watched the highlights, which was good enough. The highlights kind of told me the whole story. I saw our quarterback get Mohamed Sanu hurt because of a high ball on a crosser. Like it's just unbelievable. But yeah, yeah, that those highlights is all I needed to see. I'm glad I didn't watch that game because it was horrendous.
Yeah. Besides us losing the game that everybody was so confident we were going to win, except for me, we also lost more players, right? We lost Sanu, like you said. We lost McGlinchey. Like, for as much as everybody wants to talk about him, we haven't had to be without him,
Sure.
So now we are going to have to do that, which hopefully, the only silver lining of it is that hopefully a rookie gets play, and gets that experience, and we don't have Tom Compton and, bum skill in there the whole
Yeah.
freaking time.
Well, let me tell you what's kind of scary though. They just called up Colton Mckinvitz, who was our 5th round pick last year at tackle guard.
Mhm.
Will he get playing time over Aaron Banks and Jalen Moore?
From the sounds of it in the presser today, Kyle's not sounding like Banks is ready yet.
Huh.
He
So-
said he's consistent in run blocking, but he's not consistently playing at where he wants him in
As a pass
pass blocker.
So okay, so Tom Compton is ahead of him on the depth chart. So if Colton McKivitz comes in and gets snaps over Banks, this is really going to be laughable. Because the simple fact that you had a 5th round tackle / guard that you cut off your 53-man roster and throw him on your practice squad, if you bring him up and get him playing time over a second-round pick that you were high on, that says a lot. That just means that I don't know what's going on in that, and like that would be shameful, to be honest. So you mean to tell me your second-round pick can't beat out your fifth-round tackle guard that was on your practice squad? That's what you're telling me. Which wouldn't surprise me because he's playing Kirkpatrick and Norman over a third-round and fifth-round pick that he drafted that weren't even on a practice squad. So Colton Mckinvitz plays. This shouldn't be surprising.
And bringing up them, like, I think that's a point that a lot of people weren't paying that close attention to, is that, and I kept bringing this up, like, we had no secondary going into that game. You know, like, our safeties were out, the corners are, everybody is bad back there. You know, and it's like people thought we were going to go into that game and just, it's going to be a cakewalk because Kyler's not playing. It's like, who do we have on defense? You know, like, everybody wants to say, yeah, Fred's not playing great, but it's like, who does he have around him at the same time?
Yeah.
You know? And then people want to talk about, you know, the defensive coordinator, you know, it was his fault. D'Amico Ryans, he did so bad this game, you know. Okay, it might not have been one of his best coached games, but again, who does he have out there?
Yeah.
You know, these are the same people that wanted to write Saul off after, you know, 1 year, the first year, the second year, everybody's calling for him to be fired, you know, and then look what he turned into. It's like nobody wants to give anybody a chance anymore. It's like, now, you know, the guy's doesn't have a top defense. He's not, you know, coaching up a top defense. It's like he doesn't have a top defense out there on the field.
No.
He has players that
wouldn't
be on other people's teams. If they weren't playing here, they wouldn't be playing.
And I can argue that D'Amico Ryans' first year is better than Saleh's first year.
I agree up until this point, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny too? Look at our team and look at all the areas that are struggling. Cornerback. We get arguably our top two corners, Hurd and Verrett and K1. But you did address it because you drafted two corners. That right side of the line. Brunskill struggling. What did you do? You drafted a second-round guard. Quarterback is struggling. What do? You trade up and you get you one. All the areas that you addressed that are struggling because of either injuries or not playing well, you have them on your roster as rookies, but you refuse to play them.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Like when Verrett and K1 got hurt, you want to sign Josh Norman and Drake Kirkpatrick for depth, that's fine. But you should have been having Ambry Thomas and Diamondo Lenore out there playing.
Right.
They should have been getting more snaps than these bargain bin players that you went and signed. Like, that's just ridiculous. You went, like I said, you went and you got you a high-profile guard who was the fifth best guard in this draft, yet we have an injury to that right side. You throw in Tom Compton. Yeah. I just don't get this team's – I don't get their thought process. Like, it makes no sense to me. And then it's like you said, it's like, let's look at Kyle. It's like he doesn't like to play rookies, but yeah, he has no issue playing his day 3 picks. Hafunga's out there. Elijah Mitchell's out there. But then yet the guys that you bank on, the guys that you spend the higher draft capital on, can't see no burn. They get no burn at all.
And if they do and they make one little mistake, well, you know, then they're not dressed the next 2 weeks. Or, you know, it's like you put our corner out there, he has one bad game and we haven't seen him dress since. You know, it's like whatever, who knows what Sermon did, you know, but we haven't seen him dressed. It's like that brings, you know, around to the thing that came out this week is that, you know, is Kyle killing these rookies' confidence? Because it was reported this week that he killed Lance's confidence.
I heard that too, and I hope not. And I had mentioned this on the show 2 weeks ago, and John V said I was scaring him. And I'll say it again. Kyle's development of Trey Lance scares me. Is he going to put this young man in the right place and put him in the right scheme to make him successful? I mean, you swapped a first, used 2 firsts and a third to get this young man. For you to not, in year 1, I don't care if you didn't think he was going to play. The fact that you have a quarterback who struggles, the fact that in a 16-game season, you get a quarterback that gives you maybe 4 good games, and the fact that he's injury prone and you're not having this young man prepare is shameful. It's foolishness. This man should be getting just as many first reps as Jimmy. If his confidence is ruined and he goes out there and he just, and he sucks because he just has no confidence because he doesn't think that you have any trust in him, then you got to go. Because I'm sure there's tons of quarterback coaches that would love to get their hands on him. He has everything you're looking for in a quarterback. It's just his only flaw is his reps.
Right.
And his only flaw that he has, you're not helping it out because you're not playing him.
Yeah, and going into the season, after we drafted Lance, so much of the national media and everybody, was out there saying that Lance was going to the best spot out of all the rookies possible. How many times I heard that Lance is going to the best spot, he's going with Kyle Shanahan and, blah, 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 and yet now we're here saying, is he going to ruin our quarterback? Like, is Kyle Shanahan going to ruin our future quarterback? And does he even give a shit?
Yeah.
That's the worst part about it. Does he care?
I don't know. I'm worried about him. And it's going to suck, too, because let's just say we lose against the Rams and Kyle decides, okay, you know what? We're 3-6. And we put the rookie in, to play the last, it'd be the last 8 games of the season because we have 9 games left. This fan base ain't going to help.
Right.
Oh, he sucks. We should have got Justin Fields. Look at Mac Jones. Well, I'm sorry. You look at every one of these quarterbacks' first games, all the first rounders, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance's, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. Look at all their first games. Trey Lance looked the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
We had a chance to win that game against arguably the best team in football with Trey Lance at the thing, but yet he ain't ready. And he looked better than all of them. Justin Fields took, 9 sacks? He threw three interceptions one game. Like, come on now. Yeah. And I think that's why Kyle won't be fired, because I don't think they want to start off Trey Lance with having a bunch of different offensive coordinators. You know what I mean? Because remember, Alex Smith had four offensive coordinators in 4 years?
Right.
Like, he wasn't set up for success at all. And if Trey Lance, if that's what they do to him, like, Kyle, he needs to be gone. But yeah, I think you can agree with me. Out of all the rookies, his first games, Trey looked the best at all of them.
Yeah, and most of those rookies are still struggling. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing, is that if people are expecting that whenever Trey does get to go in and start, for him to go in and be the savior, that's not going to happen. No. For him to go in and start playing perfect, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Jimmy can't even play perfect. And that, that's what pisses me off the most, that, totally to rant for a minute. Yeah, I just remember that I had seen a post on Twitter last night that showed comparing Trey Lance's game against Arizona to Jimmy's game against Arizona.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, how many ever of Lance's throws past this amount of yards, compared to Jimmy's, and, saying that, oh, Jimmy did better. And it's like, why do we even need to compare Jimmy to a rookie's first start?
That's embarrassing.
Right? And like, they're throwing this out there as a point to make that Jimmy's so much better. Like, if Jimmy was so much better, you wouldn't have to be doing that.
Yeah.
We could watch the game and see that Jimmy's better.
Exactly.
But we can't watch the game and see that.
You can't. And the fact that you have Jimmy, who should be playing at home field advantage. We're playing at home without Kyler Murray, AJ Green, JJ Watt in our house. I would expect us to play better.
Yeah.
You got Trey Lance on his very first start going up against a top 5 quarterback at the time. I think Kyler Murray's kind of been going downhill a little bit, but Kyler Murray's a monster. That team depends on him. You got Kyler Murray in Arizona with JJ Watt. Yeah, they were missing a corner, but still, they had a healthier roster then. You know what I'm saying? Did D-Hop? He didn't even play, right?
No.
So there's another thing. DeAndre Hopkins didn't play. So you got Trey Lance going into a hostile environment against a team that was undefeated. And he played, I think he played well. No, he didn't play great, but are they accounting all the drops he had? Are they accounting to the fact that he had 1 3 and out the whole game?
Right.
or the holding penalties that kept pushing us back. Like, come on, these people are foolish. Like, it's just, but like you said, the fact that they got to put an 8-year vet that's 30 years old against a 21-year-old rookie stats to show you, oh, look, well, Jimmy did better. Miss me with that.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I seen that. I was like, that's so embarrassing. So what's up, Pinor? Yes, we touched on Hurd already. They did release him today, JV, finally. We just touched on that. Let's talk about the Rams. The Rams are coming, another home game for us. Our home record is horrible. We're obviously not, I don't have any hope that we're going to do any better with this game.
Yeah.
And, like I said, now Von Miller, the Rams picked him up now. He's probably going to be playing this game. He didn't play last week. I would expect him to play this week. Okay. I don't know if OBJ, if he'll be playing or not. But regardless, I mean, the Rams have been, they didn't do so well this last week. And that's another reason they're coming off a loss, which makes them even scarier, I think. Like they're playing so well. The offense is putting up some major points, and they're coming off a loss. They're coming to us again, we have nobody in our secondary. Now even the backup secondary that we had out there is hurt. Tavon Austin, now he's hurt. Hopefully Ward didn't practice yet, but if he doesn't come back, I don't even know who we're going to have out there.
Yeah, because Tart's like, still on RI, right? This is his going to be his second game missed?
Week. Yep.
Yeah, so he can't even come back until after the Jacksonville game, huh?
Yeah, so it's like, who do we even have to guard the wide receivers that they have? I mean, we're going to have pass interference up the butt. Like I'm expecting it to be a real shit show out there. What are you expecting?
I don't know. I'm a big sports book guy, us living here in Vegas, and I'm all about a too good to be true stuff. So looking at the line here, which doesn't make any sense to me, they got the Rams only beating us by 4 points. That's sketchy to me. But at the same time, it's going to be the same situation like the Cardinals. We're playing them all coming off a loss. And that's not good because, one, the Rams are now a game behind Arizona?
The Rams are 7-2.
7-2. So they're a game. No. So how many losses does the Cardinals have? Two, right? Or just one?
I'm going to look right now.
So let me see here. Cardinals are 8-1.
Yep.
So there is no way the Rams are going to look to get 2 games behind the Cardinals. That'll put them in bad placement. They need to stay that 1 game behind them to keep it close for the rest of the season. So in saying that, and I think OBJ plays because he's been chilling for a while. Like as long as he passes physical and stuff, he hasn't played. He didn't play with the Browns this last week, so he's kind of rested. But that's scary. OBJ being their third receiver.
Yeah.
So, like you said, who's going to guard them guys? If it all plays out, and if we have the injury still out as we do, and then if Odell Beckham plays, and then you also have Von Miller, because I think he's going to play, it's going to be all she wrote for us. Like
that's the thing is that
lady's going to sing. It's curtains, show's over, like all the above.
Yeah, the offensive line, our offensive line, we just talked about it, they're hurt. So we're either going to have rookies in there or players that should not be on the team playing, and they're going to have to block Aaron Donald, Von Miller, everybody else that they have. It's like, how is that going to work? And then you're going to have Jimmy, the statue there, like jittery Jimmy. So
our right side possibly is going to be looking like Tom Compton and Daniel Brunskill. And here's the thing, and like everybody's been mentioned, but you mentioned it earlier. It's like everybody who's not playing well, all the people who are making the mistakes or mistakes that could be made by rookies. A 10-year corner, Tom Compton getting beat like he's a turnstile. Like people, just getting after him. Chandler Jones got his first sack since week 1. Like, I mean, come on. You can't do any worse by not playing these guys. But I mean, honestly, the way this game is, I don't even want Trey Lance to start. Sit him, because if he goes out there and he stinks up the joint on prime time, what is that going to do to his confidence? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just don't want. And then who knows if Kyle's going to even put in a good game plan for him like he did the last time. So, do you want predictions now?
Sure.
Okay. Just because we can't, it's just funny because I want to pick us so bad because I feel like we can't. I don't think we can go 0-8 or 0-9. I don't know how many games we're playing at home.
I do.
0-8 at home, huh?
I do.
Was it 8 games?
I think we've
Oh.
lost 8 of the last 9.
So we play, it's weird
Something
with
like
the
that.
17 game schedule. I don't know if it's 9-8 or 8-9, but regardless, I don't see us going 0-8 and 0-9 at home. But I feel like we're due for one. But at the same time, I don't feel comfortable because of who we're playing. So I think we keep it closer than what people think. Just because we got flat out embarrassed last week, but so did the Rams. They got embarrassed too.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go 30-24 Rams.
Okay. I'm going. I have 2 scores written here for us.
Okay.
So I have us either at 6 or 10. I haven't made my mind up yet. To 34 Rams. I haven't decided if we're going to actually get a touchdown or not. That's what I'm stuck on. If we're going to get 2 field goals or a touchdown and a field goal. But either way, I'm expecting that we're going to get our butts kicked because, like I said, I don't know who's going to defend, like, on both sides of the ball. Really, we have nobody to stop, their defense. We have nobody to stop their defensive line. I'm not expecting Jimmy to all of a sudden be something he's not. And yeah, they have too many weapons, and we have nobody on defense, So even if Ward's back, like, so what?
Yeah.
And
Jalen Ramsey is probably going to shadow Debo. They're going to be like, that's what he's your man all game.
Yeah, so I'm not expecting us to go out there and be worth the damn. We're at home. We've been getting our butts kicked at home. It's and that's sad, and I understand, we've been getting our butts kicked pretty much, at home, on the road, whichever. But, like, for us, the only games that we have won to be on the road, and this losing streak, like, not just being this season at home, like, this goes back. It's like something's seriously wrong there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know the beat writers and everybody wanted, like, they kept asking the players and Shanahan and everybody this week, like, what is it? What is it when you're playing at home? Like, it has to be something. And, they all kept saying, well, it's nothing. We're preparing the same. We're doing this the same. We're doing that the same. Okay, well, obviously something's not working. So are you going to keep just doing it the same, or you're going to switch something up? Because if you don't think that, you guys are doing everything the same and it's not, nothing in that needs to be changed, well, then you're not going to change anything, and we're just going to keep losing. And then I heard, something that was kind of interesting that I heard this week too, is that the 49ers home games are not home games like other teams have.
No, there's no advantage there.
Right. And, a lot of people brought that on, like, I said, that had to do with, it being such a tech city, and that, like, a lot of it's more, jobs are just taking their customers and their employees and everything to the games. And those people aren't even 49ers fans.
Yeah. No.
They're just getting to go hang out. They're getting to go hang out at a game for free, like. So why are they going to be cheering on the 49ers? They're not.
Yeah.
They're probably teams of, fans of other teams, but you're not going to turn down a free tickets,
Yeah.
And then, like Vish said, like, he went to his first game at Levi's last week, and he compared it to, paying a lot of money to go watch a tennis match.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, like he was down in the lower section, good seats. And in his section, there was like 5, or so other team jerseys that we weren't even playing those teams. Like, like Seahawks, Browns, yada, yada, other teams around. Like down there in expensive seats,
Wow.
So it's like, yeah.
And then Jed York has the audacity to raise season ticket holders' prices.
Right.
Yeah, it almost seems better to go to an away game because I feel like the away games, 49er fans, they actually travel pretty well. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with Pinor. Like the way she was looking at him and she couldn't even see her baby out there because it's like, one, she knows that's not her baby's strengths. He played under shotgun at North Dakota State, yet I'm about to say Jim Harbaugh. I don't know why he came to my mind. Kyle Shanahan had him out in shotgun 90% of the time. Like, what are you doing, dude? How could you not put the rookie out there and put him in his comfortability? Right. That's just ridiculous. And CG, I hope he gets benched before that. Hopefully after this game, you can go ahead and put Trey Lance in against Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville game would be the perfect time to start him. Start him going forward. Like here, you take the reins. We have 8 games left. Show me that. That's pretty much half the season. You got half the season to improve, and then going into 2022, we'll have you more prepared. You'll have a lot of reps under your belt, and just keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see him, regardless of the outcome of this game, I would like to see him start next week.
But we all know Kyle, because if we win, we're technically not going to be out of playoff contention, so he's going to play. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If Jimmy comes out, and again, we see this offense not put any points on the board in the first half, and let's say the Rams come out and they're kicking our ass.
Okay.
Do we see Jimmy come out that second half?
No. I don't. And I'm saying this at a selfish standpoint because I don't want him to come out. Let him finish that game, because then it's like I feel like and it sucks too because the competitor in Trey, he's gonna go out there and try to win that game. Which I'm not knocking him for that. I'm just scared he's gonna go out there and try to do too much and end up getting himself hurt or because he wants something to prove. Let him have the ball. The first game, the first snap of the game, first quarter, let Jimmy play the whole game. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah. I would like to see Jimmy bench just for my own selfish reasons, but
yeah.
At this, and of course, I want to see Lance out there, but like we talked about, I don't want to see Lance out there and him getting smashed to death by Aaron Donald and Von Miller because we have nobody to protect him.
No protection.
And then he gets hurt again. And then we prolong seeing him again,
Yeah, because
he's hurt.
What could happen? Excuse me. What could happen though is you got, kind of like it could be one of those instances where like if we're getting beat like 31-10 or something, usually the opposing defense gets a little lackluster where they're not trying as hard because they feel like the game's in the hand and stuff like that. So maybe it wouldn't be as bad. So I can see your point in that. And I understand what you're saying about your selfish reasons and stuff. But like you said, I'm worried about that line. I'm worried about somebody like Von Miller coming off strong off that edge and beating Tom Compton and then smacking the crap out of Trey. And then it's like, man, I'd rather have just taken that L with Jimmy in there, get people healthy, and then, because it's sad because I haven't even seen Aaron Banks play, but I already trust him over Compton.
Yeah, 100%. And if not, how's he going to get better?
Yeah. Reps ain't just for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He has to learn the strength because, he played at Notre Dame, which he played some strong teams, but now you're playing with grown men. 27, 28-year-old men who got brute strength. I need to see you against that.
Yeah.
Not some 19-year-old college kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that if we do go out there and have the results that I'm thinking we're going to, that we will see Trey after that. Because, and two, if if that does happen, against the Rams, we're at home. So, at what point does that home crowd start chanting for Lance to get on the field?
Yeah.
Like at what point does the home crowd that we have that are actually 49ers fans, do they put their foot down, open their mouths, and friggin' do something? It's like
Yeah. No,
we've
you're
heard
right.
them start the booze. So if they go out there and are getting their butts kicked.
Yeah. I was listening to Miss Debbie today on Spaces, and she's a season ticket holder, and she said that she's thinking about not even renewing her season tickets. She said, "You know what? I'm not going out there and paying my hard-earned money to see this crap on the field," which I
Yeah,
don't blame her. And I wish all 49er fans did that. Teach them a lesson. You know
right.
what? Until you put me a good product on the field, I'm not renewing my season tickets. And I bet you Jed York will think twice about that price. Oh crap,
Exactly.
I need to come down because nobody's renewing their season tickets. Like the nerve of that dude.
Yeah, you're going to
And
raise the prices when you've lost and dragged crap out there on the field for how
for a
many
whole
games
year.
now?
Yeah, for a whole year. We haven't won at home since October of last year.
And you have the nerve to raise prices.
But that just probably puts a nail on the head with what Vish was saying. Because I haven't been to a home game since 2019. So I didn't go all on this season, and I'm not going to go all this year. I said screw it. So, but yeah, so it's like the fact that he said he saw all these people with these other jerseys and stuff on just goes to show you that people are getting fed up and like, oh, I got tickets because like you said, Google has 20 tickets, so let's take our employees because all of them are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Google and all these other places. So it's like, oh yeah, let's go to the game. I have 100 tickets or whatever. Yeah, it's cool. So people are showing up, but like you said, it's a tech city, so it's like you got people from all over who have moved there for jobs that are just like, oh, I'm a Giants fan, I'm a Browns fan, I'm a Bengals fan, whatever the case may be, and they're just showing up because it's a free ticket.
Right. And that's something I never thought about. I really never knew, like I'm born and raised in Vegas. I don't know much about San Francisco being a tech city or Santa
Yeah,
Clara or whatever it is. So that was good to learn that this week. And it makes a lot of sense, like it makes a hell of a lot of sense. And that's sad.
yeah,
That's sad that, he's saying that he lives in Chicago. So he's saying that, there at the Bears Stadium is better when they're, like the last game of the season, when they've
yeah.
lost every game of the season, that crowd is still more into the game and still more, like cheering and yelling and stuff more
Hmm.
than what was at the 49ers game.
Yeah. Look at Miss Debbie's comment. We had just talked about you, Miss Debbie. See, second thoughts renewal might, yeah, season tickets. I
Hey,
don't
Miss
blame you.
Debbie, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, I don't blame you, Miss Debbie. I wouldn't renew at all.
Yeah, and for him to raise
Screw
the
them.
prices,
Yeah,
like
he's
that's what we were
yeah,
just talking about. Why? For you to pay all that money to go and watch shit on the field every freaking
yeah,
week, like that's ridiculous.
yeah.
And that's why the only game I'm going to this season is in LA.
At SoFi, it'll probably
So,
be more fun.
yeah.
It seems like the faithful know how to party when they go to the away game. So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather yell at Rams fans and whatever, take my aggression
exactly.
out on them and
Yeah,
call it a day.
yeah, yeah.
um,
I don't know, Mariah. I have dependent. You know what's sad about this whole situation? I feel like this whole team rides on Kyle and if he's going to be humble or not. I truly feel like his ego has gotten in the way of everything. Just the fact that him not rolling with Trey week one, his personnel decisions. I don't know. There's some new people on here listening. If you guys, there's an article by 49ers Web Zone in May 1st. We're talking about all the people that the offensive players that this team has traded up for that haven't panned out. There's 6 players that they traded up for offensively, and only one that's really doing anything is Ayuk. Some players are questionable, and some players are not even in the league anymore. But the thing is, there's an article of Joe Williams, the running back from Utah, we traded up for in the 4th round in Kyle and John's first year. And John said on the article that him and the staff took Joe Williams off the board. They took Joe Williams off the board because he quit on his team in Utah. He quit and it came back like 5 games later because he had some problems on his team with his team, and then his sister passed away, which I get it. You know, you're not going to be all there, but Adam Peters' name, what's the other guy's name that left us for Washington? Martin Mayhew.
Mm-hmm.
They all had him off the draft board and said, we're not drafting Joe Williams. Kyle went to John and said, if I don't get my hands on Joe Williams, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. I really need this guy on my team. And John said it bothered him. And John was like, what? Like, I don't know if we should do that. But John said in the article, but I knew how Kyle felt about this guy. So I went ahead and called him and we drafted him. And 2 years later, he was out of the league. He didn't even take he didn't take hardly any snaps for this team.
Nope.
So that's why me and Miriah were saying, like, it's funny how people want to use John Lynch as a scapegoat. But then yet don't want to give Kyle any grief. Like, oh, well, who else are we gonna get? Like, Kyle is not it's not the be-all quarterback. I mean, be-all head coach. Like, there are other options out there. You know what I mean? Like everybody said, if his name was Kyle McDonald, he would have been fired.
Right.
What did John Lynch say? I didn't hear him on KMBR.
I tried to look for the interview earlier, and I could only find the older one. I had seen that Splash Cousin had posted a couple things about it, but I can't remember 100% like what it was. I need to actually listen to the interview myself, but there were the things that he shared were pretty interesting. That's
really,
yeah.
I'm about to find that. Where can I find that, Brandon?
Yeah, because I looked on like Apple Podcasts and whatever, and only the episode that they had him on prior to that one was out at the time. So
yeah, Miss Debbie, you're absolutely right. And that's why it upsets me, people using John Lynch as a scapegoat when Kyle has final say. And then this article, like I said, I know it's only on one player, but the fact that he was like, it's not like they said, oh, if he's hit there in the 7th round, we're going to draft him. John said that they took Joe Williams off their draft board completely, but Kyle just had to get him. And so they all bent Kyle's way and got him on this roster just because it would make Kyle feel good, which is ridiculous. But, you know, on a positive note, which right now I know there isn't any, I will say, you know, this team, even though we see it as they don't have a plan, which I get it. We don't look like we have one, but I feel like I mentioned earlier, I feel like this team has a bright future, especially with Trey. But I don't feel comfortable with Kyle if Jed is going to keep it the way it's been the last 5 years. If the season's over and they're sitting down having a meeting and Jed says, okay, I'm going to keep it the way it is. I still want you to be able to call plays on defense, Kyle. I still want you to be in charge of the scouting team. I still want you to be in the draft process. I still want you to be in the free agency process. This team is going to be in the same position that we are now next year. Only reason why we may be better is because we're going to have a quarterback who's better on the field. But other than that, their personnel decisions have been trash. I just really hope that Kyle humbles himself, which is, you know, throwing up a prayer. But if he humbles himself and he realizes, yes, I've made a mistake in 5 years. I can't be in charge of player personnel. I need to have a strong GM or let Adam Peters and John do all the drafting for my team. Then I just don't have any hope for this team going forward. And I'm going to be honest here. I agree, Silverado Kev. Jed is part of the problem because he's soft. He's not a real owner. Like, and I agree. There's people who are coming at me and say, Jed just needs to sit back and write checks and stay out of football operations. I disagree because his football operations are failing. So when you're failing as a CEO, you need to step in at some point. Hey, we need to have a meeting. We need to do this, that, and the other. You can't just say he's not Robert Kraft, where he has strong GM and leadership on that team. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He's not one of these teams that's going to sit there and be like, yo, I'm going to step back. At least people give crap to Jerry Jones, but at least Jerry Jones has football knowledge.
Yeah.
If I had to work for an owner, it would be Jerry Jones before Jed York. So.
And that's the thing about Jed is like, I feel like he is like, seeing like the things that he posts and says and stuff, it's like I feel like he's just finally happy he has somebody to invite to his Christmas parties.
Yeah.
Like he has finally somebody that he calls his friend. It's like Kyle's only your friend right now because you gave him every freaking thing of the 49ers franchise. You gave him power of everything. You paid him all this money. You extended him after not doing shit. It's like that's why he's your friend. You can pay anybody to be your friend, sure. It's like, so is he ever going to have, ever going to be able to make a move? Like, I don't know, because then he's going to be losing his friends.
Yeah. Let me ask your thought on this, because I've been thinking about it. What if Jed actually does have a pair and sits him down and takes all that responsibility from Kyle? What if he says, hey, Kyle, you know what? I just want you to focus on being head coach. Just be a head coach. If you want to call offensive plays, fine, but leave the back end stuff to John. And if Kyle says, no, I'm not accepting that, and he quits, yet then he goes to a team that offers him only head coaching duties, do you really think he wanted to be on this team?
I don't think he wanted to be here to begin with.
Yeah,
I mean, and he made
choice.
that. Yeah, he made that clear.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been questioning that for the last couple of weeks. Does he want to be here? Does he give a shit?
Yeah.
He has it in his contract that he can go get another job somewhere else, and we still have to pay him regardless. Yeah. So he's going to be getting paid by two organizations. I mean, if I could get fired from my job right now just for being a bitch, and then go do what I'm doing somewhere else and get paid twice the amount that I'm making right now,
why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, it would really say a lot if he quits this team because, somebody steps in and says, I'm taking away some of your power, and then him just accepting the job and saying, hey, okay, I'll be the head coach. I'm fine with that. That would say a lot because it's like, what's the difference? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jed is. He's the one that gave Kyle this power. He's the one that hired him. He's the one that put us in this position.
I feel like he panicked. Because it was like, he saw after Harbaugh, he saw the product that was being put out there with the Tom Sula, the Chip Kelly, and all this stuff. And I think he had a big name in his pocket of like, oh, I can go ahead and, there's a Shanahan out there. Let me go ahead. But the fact that you hire a first-year GM, and I get it, just because you played in the league don't mean that you know how to scout. Just because you play in the league don't mean you know how to coach. I mean, Mike Singletary was a perfect example. He was a terrible coach. He was a great motivator. But as far as coaching, his X and the nose, he didn't know any better. Like he sucked. Let's just be honest here. But so you got Jed York who panicked and hired a first-time head coach, which is fine. But a first-time head coach shouldn't have all the power. You let your head coach do it backwards and say, okay, I'm going to be the head coach. I'm going to fire a GM who's really supposed to be ahead of me, but I'm going to tell him what to do. So you hire two people who have no experience of doing all this stuff, of drafting and doing all that stuff, and then you give them all that power. That was just a mistake in itself. So I think the only one that really had the power and had some knowledge was Adam Peters and Mayhew. But then when you give, they should have been the one that had final say. Adam Peters and Martin Mayhew, who had known how to build teams, should have had final say. Then you get a first-time head coach who's been an offensive coordinator, final say about 53-man roster. That's a mistake in itself. Mm-hmm. So.
And yeah, I agree. As long as, that's all Jed cares about. As long as the faithful keep faithfully putting money into Jed's pockets, why does he care to make any changes?
And Pinor's right. And then it's funny, too, because after that Colts game, you get Jed York go on Twitter and apologize. He was like, oh, I'm going to apologize to my fans that we put a bad product on the field. I'm sorry for the way we played. And then 2 weeks later, he raises his prices. Like, you make no sense, bro.
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about is how do you feel about the defense still playing this wide 9 scheme, even though we don't have the pieces to fit into that scheme anymore?
I don't like it. I think we should just play a basic 4-3 defense. Have I don't know if Ford is even going to play, but I like that new guy that they just got from the Texans. I think I think they just need to strictly stick to a basic 4-3. Keep DJ Jones and Eric Armstead inside. Have Boza, Ibukam, and that new guy and Ford kind of handle the ends and give each other some rest, because the way we're playing right now is not good. I don't like I feel like everybody just runs all over our defense. I mean, they had James Conner out there looking like Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
I mean, Alvin Kamara. I mean, and James Conner was said about it. He's not even really that fast. He's like a 4.6 guy, but he was out there gashing us. Yeah, that just needs to be. They need to scrap that immediately until they can find them somebody, or hopefully Javon Kinlaw stays healthy.
Yeah, because I mean, D Ford's on the IR, right? Kinlaw's out for the year. Who knows? I mean,
And Eric Armstead,
hopefully we get Kinlaw back next year.
yeah, and Eric
who even
Armstead,
knows?
that's true. And Eric Armstead, he's not a dog. He's too much of a finesse defensive lineman. Like, he's not real physical. You have, like you said, Javon Kinlaw. He's like the perfect guy. He's physical. He's strong. He stops the run. All this stuff. Eric Armstead is good for like the pass rush interior, but for as far as like a run stuffer, I just don't think he has the physicality to do that. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though.
And then I don't feel like Sosa's living up to what anybody thought he was going to do. And again, I mean, they were I think kind of reaching for that, trying to put a player into a position they don't normally play,
Exactly.
And it's like we see them do this so many times with so many different positions, so many different players. And again, here we see that, and I mean, we're not seeing the production from Sosa.
Yeah, no, I agree. Manny Kov, I don't agree with you. We don't need any cats, because that's what Dante Pettis was, and he didn't pan out. We need some dogs on this team.
He's the cat guy. And that is something, that I heard a lot of people talk about this week too, is that we don't have any dogs on this team.
At all. Well, that's what Steve Young said.
Yeah.
No, we don't. Well, everybody was talking about Fred Warner too. It's like, like I told everybody, Fred Warner's always been a finesse linebacker. He's never been that real physical, like I'm gonna, I don't know, like put fear in you type linebacker. He's good, like his coverage is good, all that stuff. But I just feel like Fred Warner right now, I think he's overcompensating for how bad the defense is. Yeah. He's trying to do too much. Like, has he been playing like he has been? No. I think this year he realizes, like, man, we have no secondary. Like, I feel like he feels he's finally the leader on this team. You know what I mean? As far as defense.
Yeah.
After we lost our veterans, like Verrett went down. We don't have Sherman no more. We don't have Buckner. So now I feel like he's like, man, I'm really that guy. I'm really that dude on this defense. And he's overcompensating. He's doing too much instead of holding on to his own assignments, which I agree, because you look at everything, it's like our D-line's not getting home. So so now he has to, stand out there and take a look at what's going on more, and trying to contain everything getting into the second level. He knows our cornerbacks aren't doing well. Every time they throw the ball up in the air, it sucks that our chances are 50-50. Either 50-50, the receiver's going to catch it, or we're going to get a pass interference.
Right.
So, yeah, Pine Nor, we've been duped.
And I mean, really on the offense, like who?
As far as what?
And the same as like dogs, and and leaders too. Mm-hmm. Like who? I mean, you can't expect your quarterback to lead at this point, because Jimmy's on his way out the door, and he knows that. Why does he want to lead the team? What does he give a shit?
Yeah.
And then Trey, he can't fully be the leader that he's supposed to be when it's not his team yet. Kittle's been hurt.
Yeah, I think if Debo gets paid and he sticks with this team long term, I think he'll be that guy. I think he has that dog mentality. He's a dog of a player, that's for sure. I mean, he's physical. Like, I feel like your game has to be, and it's funny too, you don't have to be like all tough and your voice have to be all strong and stuff, because look at somebody like Troy Polamalu. They said he was a leader. He was the most soft-spoken guy I've ever heard. But you get him on that field, he knows how to turn on a second dimension. Like, he can be the nicest, hey, how you doing? Shaking your hand, you get on that field. Like, who is that guy? Like, he just knows how to turn it on, which I feel like that's Debo. I feel like sometimes that's a Trent Williams, whatever the case may be. But I just know, I feel like on offense, I feel like come next year, it'll probably be Debo.
Right. And I feel like that used to be Kittle. And I don't know, we can say it's either the injuries or keeping him off the field. He got paid. He's not the same player he
I
was.
think he's too much of a Jimmy guy.
Yeah,
I
whatever
can
it is,
honestly think,
something's there, because he's not the
yeah,
same guy in the press conferences. He's not the
no,
same guy on the field. You know, um, yeah, I'm not confident that he's going out there and being the leader, the captain, the dog that we're used to him being either.
exactly. I mean, you look at the way he was against that Saints game. When he was out there just manhandling people and had that dog mentality. But I don't know. And I hate to say this, 'cause I don't want to speculate. I truly believe like his, how do I want to word this? I feel like his eagerness to play hard and stuff went out the door when he knew his boy was leaving. Like, I think when he got word and he knows that Jimmy ain't it and stuff, which is surprising to me because Jimmy's always the reason why he's hurt. But it's just funny to me how, like I said, everybody can say, no, I don't think there's a riff in the locker room. There is. There's something going on, and I feel like it's the quarterback situation. And I don't think anybody can tell me different.
I mean, and what can we really expect? Because I mean, it's only natural that you have these guys that were on the 2019 team that were on this Super Bowl team with Jimmy, and whether Jimmy took them there or not, but he was still the quarterback of that team.
Sure.
And at this point, until Shanahan grows the balls and makes a decision and can tell that team otherwise, Jimmy's their quarterback. Jimmy is still the guy. They're still coming in, and Shanahan's telling Kittle, Jimmy's your quarterback. What is Kittle supposed to say?
Yeah.
Now, once Lance is the quarterback, if at that point Kittle is acting this way, well, then we know.
Yeah. And then, what, too, was funny about it? These players, after every game, sit down in their whatever room that they're in and they watch film.
Yep.
How can you honestly sit back and assess and think, oh, we have the best way to ride with Jimmy when all of us as fans are seeing it, whether it's all 22 and we're looking at film and we're seeing all these open receivers on crossing patterns, whatever the case may be. And you see all these people open and you're sitting in a room going over film. And then you're looking at it like, oh, Jimmy, you missed here. Oh, look, this guy was open. This guy, how can you sit there as like a George Kittle, a Kyle Juszczyk? And I love Kyle Juszczyk. He's my favorite player on the team. But you look at that, how can you honestly sit there and assess and be like, oh, yeah, Jimmy does give us best chance to win when you're seeing him miss potential touchdowns, potential big gains because he doesn't hold on to the ball, because he holds on to the ball too long, or he's scared to make that throw. Like, Kittle cannot honestly sit there and say he's happy what he's seeing after they look at the film with all the offensive, with the coaches. There's no way. When Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels and all of them are sitting back and all the offense is sitting there and they're seeing everybody open, there is no way that they're okay with that.
Right. And that's my whole thing, is why he's been such a huge fan of Jimmy anyway. When this guy has done shit for your career.
Yeah.
It was Mullins and Beathard that got you the record, that pretty much got you paid. It wasn't Jimmy. Since Jimmy's been your guy, you've done nothing but get hurt.
Brandon, this is not a Super Bowl roster, probably not even a playoff roster. We're 3-5 with a quarterback who can't execute the offense. Trey can't be no worse than what Jimmy's playing right now. We have to play that guy. Otherwise, the same stuff we're seeing in 2021, if he doesn't play, is going to be the same thing we're seeing in 2022. The boy needs some snaps, period. Yes, do I think he's ready to play? Probably not. But the only way we're going to get him ready to play is to put him out there and get reps, period.
Exactly. And like I said before, I mean, we can't know for sure, but I don't feel like we would have any different record if Trey would have started the whole season. I mean, we could still be sitting 3-5 right now. Those three teams that we beat, two of them are 3-6 right now, and one's 0-8.
Exactly.
We could have done that with Trey.
Trey could have beat the Lions. He could have beat Philly, and he could have at least beat Chicago. Our record would be exactly the same. You can't tell me different. I like I said earlier, I truly believe we beat the Seahawks if Trey plays that whole game.
They might be roommates. They might be porn mates.
We'll never know. They went to different colleges.
This is why I don't want to throw Trey out there to play the Rams this week. But I think after that, I don't see. I mean, it's football. We
Yeah.
risk injury every day. We risk
Yeah.
injury with any player. We can't bubble wrap him and not have him get reps because we're worried about injury.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wanted Trey to start a long time ago, but since he hasn't played up to this point yet, might as well just wait until the Jacksonville game. I don't want him playing on prime time against probably arguably one of the best teams. If you start him again this week, he'll have his two starts against probably the one or two first and second best team in football. If you think about it, right?
Right.
Um, what was Brandon? I agree. Well, Brandon, I agree with what you're saying. But at the same time, you got to go with your own eye test. I don't care what people's opinions are. What I saw against Arizona is Trey play very well. He didn't play great. He played well. There was drop balls, and I feel like he played good. He played good with a game plan that wasn't even good. The game plan was horrendous. He was in shotgun where he's comfortable under center. So I get what people were saying, and I respect what you're saying, but I just don't see any difference of playing Trey and Jimmy as far as a record wise. Yeah, Jimmy right now, I mean, he has a quicker release and probably is a better. I don't know how can you say it. Maybe like a better short pass thrower because
Better
he throw.
quarterback sneaker.
Yeah, but as far as him not being ready, I don't agree with that. I think you put him in because if you watch that Cardinal game, and you see how well he played with an awful game plan and not feel excited about what the future holds, then I don't know what else to tell you. I feel like that too. I feel like Kyle wanted to show us that he wasn't ready because he wasn't ready to play him. That's what Kyle did. I'm gonna put when he played Arizona. Oh, absolutely, he put a bad game plan for Trey. Yes, because Kyle's arrogant. He doesn't want to play Trey until he's ready. So I think he put Trey out there with the sabotage mentality of I'm not going to call the best game plan for him. I'm not going to make him feel comfortable. I'm not going to put in Sherfield and Juwan Jennings, who he's comfortable with. I'm going to put in Travis Benjamin, who's been on practice squad. So yeah, I feel like he was sabotaged just because Kyle's ego was ready to show people he wasn't ready.
We didn't want him to get any of that confidence back. We wanted him to go out there and lose more confidence. So it's like that's been his plan all along. And like that's why there's people are bringing up the point, like, did he ruin Trey's confidence? It's like everything up until the point from us getting Trey until now, he's done everything in his power to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like every chance that you had to build up the kid, like, oh, we heard Trey's doing really well, this week in training camp, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, yeah, he had a couple good throws, but, he still has a lot to improve on. He's not doing good on this. Never once could just say he was doing something good.
Exactly.
It's like, how many times are you going to get up there and say negative after negative after negative comments, and then you throw the kid out there with a shit freaking game plan, and it's like, you're wondering why people are questioning if you ruin the freaking kid's confidence or not.
And I can guarantee you, but Kyle's so arrogant, he will never admit it. The way he sabotaged him and set him up with a bad game plan, I can almost still agree that Kyle came away impressed with the way Trey played. I don't think he expected him to play that well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a mess with that organization.
Yeah, and I think that's, that's the frustration with the faithful right now, is that you came into this season telling us that you weren't starting the rookies, you weren't starting our future at quarterback because we had a Super Bowl roster and we were, winning now plus building for our future as well. Yet we're not winning now. We're not doing nothing with our future because they're all sitting on benches and not active, not getting playtime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're frustrated, It's like, it's a mess.
I want to bring this up again because there's some new people in the chat. I say start Trey going forward, and that sucks too because we've heard Kyle say, unless we're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, I'm not going to play Trey. That he's not going. He said didn't play any of the rookies, and there's so many people on Twitter. Oh, I still think this is a playoff roster. Let Jimmy loose. I start laughing when I hear that comment. I'm like, let Jimmy loose to what? Like, there's plenty of opportunity for him to look good, but he doesn't see his open receivers. So, but I told everybody in the chat, You got to be subscribed to me and Mariah. If the Niners go to the playoffs with Jimmy, I will buy you your choice of hat and 49er t-shirt. Pick whatever hat you want, whatever t-shirt you want, send me your information, and I'll send it to you if we make the playoffs. That's how confident I think that we're not going to, because we have, 9 games left? We have 9 games left, so that means we really have to get to 10 wins, I believe, to make the playoffs, and that's not going to happen. 9-8 maybe as a wild card, but then that makes us winning 6 out of the next 9. Not going to happen. So, but yeah, if I'm wrong, I'll pick a name from our subscribers and people on this chat. You have to be in the chat too. If people didn't watch, then screw them.
Yeah.
If people didn't watch, screw them. But if you're in this chat, look back in the chat, and if we do, like I said, hat and shirt of your choice. I don't care how much it is. Just let me know. I'll eat my words, and I'll be a man of my words. I won't be like Kyle and be pussyfooting around questions and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Miss Debbie says, so what happens when Jimmy gets hurt in this game that we play on Monday Night Football? He's going to be forced to put Trey in, and then what?
Then we're just going to have to roll with the punches. I just hope that, and this is funny you say that, because I kind of hope with the way this offensive line has been playing on that right side, especially with McGlinchey hurt, and I'm shocked we've been saying this, but if Tom Compton and Daniel Brunskill got to start on that right-hand side, on that right side, if Trey has to come in, he better be in shotgun the whole game. Put that boy in shotgun so he's not sacked too quickly.
Yeah, I believe. I agree. We have nobody on the defense. Like, I don't know who these people think that we're rolling out there to stop these other teams. You saw
what Colt McCoy did to us with DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green both out. The top 2 receivers were out, and James Conner was out there looking like Christian McCaffrey. Like, we're in trouble.
And then we're going to think that we're going to be able to stop Stafford and his arsenal of freaking weapons, And
then if OBJ plays, who's stopping that trio of receivers? Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in football right now. I know we can argue it's Debo, but Cooper Kupp has over 1,000 yards. Appreciate that, Pioneer. Cooper Kupp has over 1,000 yards. Him and Matthew Stafford have great chemistry. I forgot. We got Josh Norman to put on him. No. Emmanuel Mosley on Robert Woods? Maybe. Who's guarding Odell Beckham? He's going to be hungry.
Yeah.
He's going to be hungry. You watch. If he plays on Monday, he's going to be like, hey, look, you have K'Wan Williams guarding me, which, like I said, I'm not knocking K'Wan, but man, it's gonna be ugly.
And even if he doesn't play, I mean, their other wide receiver 3 is not, he's good himself. Yeah. So
Van
it's like,
Jefferson's good.
Yeah, I'm not having any hope.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm a football gambler, and I just think it's gonna be closer than what it is. Because I don't know, when you look at this spread, and I know we're playing at home, but like you said, it's not home field advantage. So I don't know what the sports book's thinking. You look at that game and you think, oh, the Rams -4, they only got to win by 4 points or 5 points. You're taking that all day, right?
Right.
You're going to be like, oh, the Rams only got to win by 5 points? Oh, I'm taking this bet. Mm-hmm. Something ain't right here.
Yeah.
Something's not right, because Vegas don't lose money. That's all I'm saying. Vegas don't lose money. This don't look right to me. So I think they might lose. I still think they lose. It could be a field goal or something, but I'm going to be interested to see what the line says on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to move a little bit.
It should. I mean, because I'm surprised it hasn't. Because -4, any average fan will look at that and look at because all the sports book, they always post the records. Mm-hmm. They're gonna see they'll show Niners 3-5, Rams 7-2. Rams only got to win by 5 points. What? 5 points? Oh, I'm taking that bet. But I'm always real curious about that stuff. So, yeah. Might over right guard and Brunskill go to right tackle. See, now I'd be okay with that. Banks at right guard and Brunskill, because that's a step in the right direction. Tom Compton and Daniel Brunskill, I'm not feeling that.
Guess we'll see what happens.
I don't know what you guys I don't know if you guys heard earlier, fam. I was thinking like, man, the way that Kyle is and the way his rotations, don't be surprised if Colton Mckinvitz gets in there before Banks and Moore. This dude just doesn't make any sense.
I'm hoping they just activated him, for
because somebody got
backup.
hurt.
Like,
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Unless he's got a whole lot better, since we've seen him last. But
yeah,
I mean, he's been on the practice squad, so I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have tonight. Again, I want to wish everybody happy Veterans Day. Thank you, TL, for your service. Everybody
Silverado
else out there.
Kev too.
Yes, Kev. Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy Veterans Day.
Your service.
Yeah, thank you guys all for hanging out with us. Almost 2 hours we've been here yapping.
Well, that's because we had some technical difficulties.
That was only a couple minutes.
A couple minutes, though, yeah.
John V hung in there and let us know.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. We will be here next week. We'll see what happens this week with the Rams. Until then, let's go Niners.
Go Niners. Have a good night, fam.
Good night, fam.